Howdy folks, we're back in the front garden. These are the pumpkins that I had in the shop under the grow light. They were getting a little bit too out of control, so it's time to bring them out into the garden. This year I will only plant 4 pumpkin vines. Last time I planted maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9, and there were pumpkins everywhere. I couldn't even give them away. So a lot of pumpkins went bad. So this year I'm only going to plant 4 vines, and that will put me in a good spot. But I'll be filling in the rest of the space with some okra and tomatoes and all that other fun stuff. We'll be getting to that here pretty soon. And in the far corner over there, I also have some cantaloupes that were getting a little out of control under the grow light, so I'll be putting the cantaloupes in. And then down on the bottom side there, where it's a bit sandy, between there and here, I'm going to put in some watermelons. So let me put these pumpkins in the ground, and then we'll go tackle the cantaloupes. There you go, those pumpkins in the ground. It was time for them to come out here. They already started holding on to each other, so it was time to bring them out into the garden. So there's a 3rd one, and there's the 4th one. So they're looking pretty good. I'll go ahead and water them down. It's pretty windy. We're supposed to be getting some rain. It's been overcast all day, but still no rain. So we'll see what happens. I know I'm supposed to water these guys in the morning, but with me just putting them out, I wanted to put some water on them. It's still early enough in the afternoon that they won't, I don't expect a problem out of them, and I won't be watering them regularly in the afternoon. But like I said, just wanted to get the ground, the soil around them good and moist. So another thing, I'm planting the pumpkins on all the vines on the west side of the garden, because we're going to have that sun is going to come from the east and track across the garden on the west side. So that'll give these guys all day of sunlight. We're going to plant the tomatoes and okra and the taller plants over on that side of the garden, on the east side of the garden. So they'll get all that sunlight, and afternoon shadow will go into the pasture and not on the vines. So the vines will have a full day of sunlight. So that's the plan here. Only thing I'm thinking about, I should have brought them closer to the fence, because I'm going to let the vines run down into the garden that way instead of kicking back into the pasture. Because if it gets too close to the fence, the cows will mess with it. So I've given enough border where the cows won't be able to stick their tongues in and grab my pumpkin leaves. But that's what we're looking at. Looking good. So all the chickens are coming in the garden, doing their digging and scratching. Now this side of the garden is my raised beds. I did the raised beds for a couple of years. This year I'm going to move away from the raised beds. I'm just going to let this run its course and play out. I'm not going to do anything with the raised beds. Well, one of the main reasons I'm not going to do anything with the raised beds is it's a big garden, and one of my problems is at the beginning of the summer everybody wants vegetables, but as you get halfway through it, you know, you're stuck with all these vegetables that you just have to throw away, because everybody has a garden and nobody really wants to come out for it. So I'm just going to focus on that side. That'll be plenty produce for my family, for the neighbors, for friends. That'll be plenty. So, but who knows, as I go through the summer, I might decide to do something with this garden. But also remember, I still have a smaller garden closer to the house, and I still have the big cornfield in the back. So I've got a lot of space. I've got a lot that will be growing, And I'll just see how this year goes, and don't need all of it. I'm gonna probably be freeze drying a lot of it. Last year I put a lot of it in the freezer. This year I'll do the freeze drying. So I'll be freeze drying a lot of the vegetables. And again, this is more than enough to support my family and support friends and neighbors. So I have a lot of people who ask me, why do I not just grow the monster garden and sell the produce? Truth be told, I just don't have time for it. You know, I have too much going on, and gardening for me is relaxing. It's a lot of fun. Coming home in the afternoons from the office is a great way to relax on weekends. Keeps me busy, and whatever I grow, I just give it away, so I have no need to sell it. So there you go. But I get that a lot. Why don't you sell it? I'm like, hey, if somebody needs it and somebody wants it, I just tell them, come on out, harvest it, pick it, and it's theirs. Okay, these are the cantaloupes. As you can see, I've got one that really took off, two that halfway took off, and then another two that was a bit stunted. Well, the reason for that is the pumpkins took off, and they were next to the pumpkin, so I'm sure the pumpkin blocked out a lot of their light. So that created a situation for the cantaloupes where they were not receiving as much light as they should. So let me, there you go. We'll leave those leaves out. Oop, look out. There you go. Put that guy in there. Get another one. Put him down in here. Backfill that dirt. Keep him afloat. Then we'll do the same thing to the others. So now I've got them in the ground. There's one of the cantaloupes there. There's another one there. There's another one there. Right here is that runt. I guess he's one of the last ones to pop up and just got blocked out by the pumpkins. And then this cantaloupe here, you can tell that this was one of the first ones that popped up. This came up with the pumpkins at the same time. So believe it or not, they all were planted at the same time, in the same setting, and the same grow light. But whoever came up first got all the light and started shading out the other ones who came up later. But what I have found is the cantaloupe loves this thick, black, muddy clay soil. My cantaloupes have done extremely well right here. And as I was saying, is over here is where the sandy soil, I brought some sand, and I'll probably put it over there on the west end of the garden. That's where I'll put the watermelons. Last year I planted watermelons there, they did very well. Before I planted watermelons down in here, they did really good. But now that I know I'm going to be putting taller plants over on this side, I'm going to move the watermelon over on the west side of the garden. This part of the garden where the cantaloupes are, nothing will block them out. They'll be here all by themselves just to spread, grow, and thrive. And there is my daughter's cat, Reese. Reese is her name, and she's pregnant. So we'll be getting some kittens pretty soon. I guess they said they wanted to let her have a litter, and then they'll go ahead and spay her. So, you know, you live in the country, you need cats, catch all the field mice. So that's the plan. One litter, then spay, and then spay and neuter the litter so that they can just be around catching mice. But that's Reese over there cleaning herself. So these are the watermelon. These are sugar babies. These watermelons get to about anywhere from 6 to 8, 9 pounds. So I got 3 of them planted, and as you can see, the soil up here is more sandy. This whole area is naturally just that black gumbo clay like that. So all this sand here is what I brought in and tilled into the garden for the watermelon. Now, I'm just saying this what works for me. These seeds, the pumpkin, cantaloupe, and watermelon, these are seeds what I've harvested from the past garden. So they've already acclimated to this region. They're acclimated to this type soil, and this is where they have worked great. Watermelons work great here in the sandy soil. Pumpkin and cantaloupes have grown great in the dark soil. So might not be the same for you, but this is what works great for me. And we've had a few years of a great harvest. So that's what we're looking at here. So that's the difference in the soil. This sand was all brought in and plowed into the garden. So that's what we're working with this afternoon. We got the corn in earlier, and now we've got the pumpkins, cantaloupes, and watermelon is in now. So that's very good. One of my big pluses also is my neighbor is a beekeeper. So right across the fence over there, there are some beehives. And once everything starts blossoming, my garden is layered in bees. We're covered right up in bees. So that's a big plus to have that right next to me. So right over there, my neighbor has several hives. He collects and sells honey. Very good honey. I got some from him, and it's very good. And I need to tell him he need to give me some more honey because his bees are coming over to my garden. But hey, he'll probably tell me I need to give him some produce because his bees are coming over to my garden. But we can trade. The bartering system is alive and well. Well, you guys be good, be safe, and take care of yourselves. So we've got the chickens are all still out. They'll be heading in pretty soon. Once it, probably the next 2-3 hours, they'll all head in and get out of the weather for the night. You all take care. Bye-bye.